Welcome to Pathways to Aviation. It's our fourth annual Aviation Career Week. It's our fourth annual Aviation Career Week. It's the third day, and we've had two amazing days so far. And today's day is focused on aerospace and engineering. And we have two sessions going on. Right now, we have a panel discussion amongst industry leaders, and then in 2 hours, we're going to have a one-on-one interview with an organization known as Civil Air Patrol. But this group, we brought in some major industry leaders to come and talk to us about aerospace and engineering jobs. And just a bit about Pathways to Aviation. It's an organization. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization, which has one basic mission, and that's to inform, inspire, and engage aviation and aerospace's next generation. And we do that a number of ways, but our driving force is to help make students and job seekers truly career ready to launch into their first job and create a career out of it in that industry. And we do it by working with the hard skills that you guys have learned in the classroom, in the garage, tinkering around, in your jobs, to help make it shine so that when you're ready to pursue those jobs, those careers, you can make it sparkle. What I want to do right now is introduce you to a moderator. He's one of our mentors who attends our weekly workshops, who we've become quite fond of. So he may be one of our most favorite mentors. Michael Castagna, he's going to describe himself, and then he's going to take over the show and introduce the rest of our panelists. So Michael, it's all yours.
All right, give me 1 second. My computer just decided that, I don't know what it's doing here. All right, we'll have to wing this. So my name is Michael Castagna, and my elevator pitch, as Peter always asks us to do. I'm the director of aerospace education for the New Jersey Wings Civil Air Patrol. Funny, Peter should just mention that. And I also serve on national staff. I'm their outreach coordinator. So it's kind of my job to put schools, education, students in touch with aviation. So this is a great workshop for me to moderate. In addition to what I do with Civil Air Patrol, and we are the official fourth component of the United States Air Force, I also sit on the New Jersey Governor's Public Use Airport Task Force, and I sit on a number of aviation boards, and one of them, George and I will be talking about a little later because I do have some questions. So we have 3 people with us today that are going to share their experiences, and I'm going to ask each one to do a brief introduction of themselves so that we can get things going. So I'd like to introduce George, and sir, if you tell us a little bit about yourself, your organization, your elevator speech, please.
Yeah, got it. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. So yeah, my name is George DeWeese. I'm a regional admissions counselor for Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. So I've been with the university for about 20 years as an admissions counselor. Just a little bit about Embry-Riddle real quick. For most people know, but we do have 2 locations. We have a Daytona Beach campus, and we have a Prescott, Arizona campus, and we also have a worldwide campus. So I'm attached to the Daytona Beach campus, but I can speak on programs throughout most campuses that we have. So as most people know, aerospace engineering is one of the top programs at our university. That, along with flight, are our two largest enrolled degrees that we have. So I'm going to be happy to talk about the process, admissions process, all those things if somebody's interested in that. Prior to becoming an admissions counselor with Embry-Riddle, I spent time in the Navy. I was an avionics technician, so I have an aviation maintenance background, and spent some time in that department at Embry-Riddle as well. So lots of aviation experience, been with the school for a long time, happy to help in any way I can. And I'm going to pass it back to Michael.
Okay, thank you very much, George. Arturo, you're next on the hit list.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Arturo Martel, and I am currently the Inventory Control Supervisor at ClickBond. ClickBond produces adhesive bonded fastener technology for the aerospace industry. And my background is I've been at ClickBond for 14 years. I started as a machine operator and tool maker. And from there, I've moved on wearing multiple hats at ClickBond, going into manufacturing engineering, continuous improvement, and now into a leadership role, maintaining inventory at ClickBond, controlling inventory. And it's been an awesome journey. And I really like to speak about the evolution and understanding of what it takes to work in the aerospace industry, and not necessarily, having to go through the engineering fields. There's a lot of technical aspects, machine tool technology and automation. That is, machine tool technology and machinists are a dying breed almost. So I really want to speak to other aspects and other fields in the aerospace industry.
All right, thank you, Arturo. And finally, Travis, sir, if you would.
Good morning or afternoon to everyone. My name is Travis Slagel. I'm a principal systems engineer with Sierra Nevada Corporation, which is headquartered in Sparks, Nevada. And I'm part of a team that's developing data fusion technology that allows helicopters to land in degraded visual environments. Sierra Nevada Corporation has a wide range of aerospace products. Lots and lots of defense applications. We also have a spaceship. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Dream Chaser, but we've got a contract to take cargo to the International Space Station. That's based out of our Colorado facilities. My real passion is systems engineering as a discipline. I'll talk a little more about that as we get into the panel of how I got into systems engineering, but also leadership. My real passion is to learn how to lead others by loving them and serving them, and aerospace and aviation has given me a great opportunity to do that. So I'm really excited to be part of the panel and looking forward to answering your questions and sharing my journey into systems engineering and the aerospace and defense industry.
Great, thank you, Travis. Before we get into the very first question, I also have a short commercial, since Peter gave me the floor and I warned him to be careful about this. This is for everybody out there, and it's all about the Civil Air Patrol. Whether you are a young man or woman looking into the aviation field for the very first time, we offer you an opportunity to, right off the bat when you join, get 5 rides in our powered airplanes and actually manipulate the controls, 5 rides in our gliders. There's one behind me in my background picture. So there's a lot of opportunity for our cadet program. For those of you that are a little older, already involved in aviation, we have our emergency service program. And one of the things that I certainly want to promote is the ability to be part of the air crew. So whether you are pilot in command or the mission observer, up front with the pilot, or the mission scanner in the back, aerial photographer, there's a lot of opportunities there. And the program that I run is Aerospace. So I'm just going to throw that out. If you're really interested, go civilairpatrol.com is the magic website, and you can go through the menus and find whatever it is that interests you. Okay, so much for the commercial. And here's how I'd like to run this. I have several questions I'd like each of you to answer in turn. So we'll kind of start off in the order that you were introduced. So it would be George, you would be first, and then we'll go to Arturo, and then we'll go to Travis. So my first question is this: what do you or your organization and the industry seek in new hires, or seek in students, or seek in applicants? So George, if you would start off, please.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, for us, obviously it's students for the most part. I mean, we do have, just briefly, if somebody wanted to work for the university as a professor or teach, at the university, then there would be those opportunities on our website. We have opportunities at both campuses and also our worldwide campuses. But from a student perspective, we're looking, obviously, if you're looking at a career in aerospace engineering or any type of engineering, we're looking to make sure that you're academically ready for that. And so what that means is, and I'm pretty sure Travis and Arturo would attest to this, that you're going to have some strong math and science skills. Those are going to be classes that you need to be strong in. And so for us, Obviously, we're looking at everything when a student applies. We're taking all things into account, but some of the most important things are the academics and how well the student does in math and science. So if you aspire to be an engineer, I would highly recommend that you take the highest level of math that you can in high school. Pre-cal is the minimum that we require to be accepted, but your very first class in engineering is going to be Calc 1, your first math class. So you need to be prepared for that. In terms of science, we recommend lab sciences like physics, chemistry, biology, but we do you have to have at least 2 lab sciences and math up through pre-cal to be accepted for engineering. The other thing that I would recommend, and this is becoming more and more available in high school, if you have an opportunity to participate in Project Lead the Way, if you have an opportunity to participate in the Civil Air Patrol, in any type of organization in robotics, rocketry, any type of competitions, those are excellent ways to kind of explore engineering and see if it's something that you really enjoy. And it also gives you an opportunity to get some of those leadership skills. So not only should you participate in these activities, but you should try to be a leader in some way. So don't just look to participate in robotics, but look to be some type of a team leader or section leader or something like that. And those things are really going to pay off down the road when you get to college. So you know, for us, we would encourage students to apply early their senior year. Again, it's going to be important that you do well in math and science and take those to the highest levels you can. And I'll stop there for now. I'm sure there'll be more that'll come up later.
All right, thank you, George. Arturo, same question, if you would, please.
So thank you. ClickBond, what they look for in individuals are a growth mindset, team-oriented individuals, and people who are going to be innovative. So ClickBond produces innovative technology for the aerospace industry. We're also innovating the way an aerospace industry works, right? So we want to be able to have individuals that are going to contribute to change and innovate the way people are working, improve processes, and desire for growth. I agree with George as far as the background needed to work in a aerospace industry. For me, my story was a little different. I didn't have that background, and I came in as you know, just a worker, an employee. And as I started utilizing the math that I had learned at school, I started to practically apply it in the job, and I really started to understand what it took to work in aerospace. And from there on, I stopped looking at it like a job, looking at it more like a career, and it completely changed my whole mindset and opened up tons of opportunities for me. So at ClickBond, we're not just looking for individuals that want to come in and have the cookie cutter concept mindset to engineering. We also want people that don't have that interest or background come in, be an employee, become a ClickBonder, and learn what it takes to become an aerospace engineer or an employee to the aerospace industry. And I think we want to gain those individuals, retain them, and show them what the possibilities are when working at ClickBond.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And Travis.
All right, everyone. So what we're looking for at SNC and new hires is, I'd say the number one thing is a passion for technology, right? And that can come through in a lot of different ways, right? But for me to see a resume and see that you have completed your coursework, that resume is not going to go to the top of the pile, right? It needs to come out in side projects that you've done, in, as George said, leadership of your project work, right? We're looking for guys that can be innovative, as Arturo said. We're bringing new technologies, in my case, to the U.S. military. And so I need to know that you're going to be not the guy that's going to come in and do 8 hours of his analysis or writing code, but that's going to be personally dedicated and excited about the technology that you're working on. The other thing that I really look for is a system mindset. So not just what is the problem in my area of focus, but what's the impact of the guys upstream and downstream of me, right? So kind of stepping back and looking at that big picture of what the problem is, and then what are opportunities that aren't even within my problem statement, right? And if I think about a key characteristic for people that are successful at SNC, it's people that are really adaptable, right? And it's not an environment where you're going to have a procedure, you're going to sit and follow your procedure, right? You're going to have to be coming up with that procedure and thinking on your feet and able to adapt to if the warfighter needs something new that wasn't envisioned a month ago, right? We've got to respond to that, get a technical solution that will, in the case of the programs I work on, save the lives of the warfighter or give them additional capability. The other thing I look for is internship experience. So if we're looking at entry-level candidates, it's almost a must-have, right? And I know some of your high schools and colleges are not going to have that in place. My story is I went to a school called Kettering University. They're in Flint, Michigan, and Kettering's a unique school in that they call it a co-op school or intern school, and every student spends 6 months of every year at an internship. So you go to school for 3 months and then you go to work for 3 months. And that was so instrumental for me. Number one, is engineering something I'm interested in? I know because I'm doing engineering work as a freshman, right? So I definitely recommend internships. I was fortunate to be placed with the Nevada Automotive Test Center. That's how I was introduced to Nevada, which is a fantastic place out in the desert outside of Reno, Nevada, and got to do this huge variety of engineering work. I was looking at software code. I was bouncing around in the desert in armored military vehicles. Got to design and build a hybrid electric prototype for the Special Forces. So really look for opportunities where you're going to take that engineering education, like Arturo said, and apply it, right? You've got to be able to apply it and show me as an employer, right, that you can do things with that education. And I definitely second the competitions that George mentioned. I was part of a competition called Formula SAE. There's also lots of aerospace focused through the Society of Automotive Engineers. They've got some great programs for aerospace there as well. And I spent more of my time out in a shop building race cars that I maybe did in some of my coursework, but it paid off, right? Because I knew how to make a drawing, make a print, manufacture it myself, right? So definitely get outside the classroom for your education as well.
Travis, you and I are definitely on the same wavelength, because my next question that I was going to ask the three of you was internship. So I'm going to go back to George and Arturo in just a moment, but I want to throw out for those of you in the audience, I have a former Civil Air Patrol cadet who went on to Rutgers University. He was in their engineering program. During his junior year, he got an internship. I'm out here on the East Coast in New Jersey, so we have Navy Lakehurst, their Naval Engineering Research and Development Program. Nick got an internship, a paid internship. It wasn't in the area of engineering that he was interested in, but he thought, let me give it a try. Nick graduated from Rutgers summa cum laude, and NavAir, right there at Navy Lakehurst, hired him instantly. So my question, George and Arturo, how does internships or related aerospace industry fields, education experience, how does that work for you guys? So George, can you pick it up first?
Yeah, absolutely. And outside of doing well in your classes, I would agree with Travis. It's the most important thing you could probably do in college. So especially in engineering or any tech field, any STEM field. So most of our engineering students, the vast majority do at least one internship. And those that don't really struggle getting hired as opposed to those that do. It's a game changer, I would say, and most students that do internships do have offers prior to graduating, employment offers. So it is the most recommended thing I could give to a student outside of doing well in your subjects. In order to in order for an engineering student to get hired at a lot of companies, they can't have below a 3.0 grade average. There are some companies that just won't look at you unless you're above a 3.0. So that's a factor. You have to have that. You have to have a 3.0 to get into grad school. So grades are important, but I would say the internship is the next most important thing.
Great, thank you. Arturo?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, ClickBond does offer summer internship programs, and it's really cool to see these students, get to actually apply it in the real world. We have internship programs in quality assurance, manufacturing engineering, automation, all different aspects, even accounting and IT if you wanted to. And I think it's a great opportunity for these students to get some exposure to what it's really like to work in the aerospace industry. We promote these. We have also apprenticeship programs, full tuition reimbursement. So yeah, ClickBond is really enables furthering your education and being ready to hit the workforce.
Arturo, is there an age limit for those scholarship? Is there age limit?
18, correct.
Yeah. Like guys over 55, do they count?
No, 18 and up. I mean, you could go. Yeah, 18 is the starting age, but yeah, if you're enrolled in college, there's continuing education, 100% tuition reimbursement with a B or above. So it's a huge opportunity. I encourage people to capitalize on the opportunity. It's a privately owned company, and they really, we as a whole really want to encourage people to further their education and get a better understanding of aerospace.
Thanks, Arturo, because I know we have some folks that are job seekers too, looking for a different career. So appreciate that.
Yeah, we actually just had two, I think in 2022, graduate with an associate's in business, and another one graduate with their master's in engineering management, fully paid for by ClickBond.
I think one of the things for the audience members out there, how do you find these internships? And the simplest thing is Google, find out what industries are in your state, in your location. Again, speaking here in New Jersey, we're fortunate. We have the FAA-Hughes Tech Center, another research and development facility down in Atlantic City. And we also have Lockheed Martin over towards the Philadelphia area. They have what looks like a ship sitting on land. I'm not sure what it is. Those of us that fly, we call it the USS Rancocas. There's a lot of RF activity all over the place, but take a look and see what's out there. Call them. The answer is always no unless you ask. So these internships, these scholarships, they're available. And I would encourage all of you to get as much of experience as you can. You're marketing yourselves. And I think the three gentlemen are pointing that out, that you want to bring something to the table that they're going to say, wow, I want to hire this particular candidate. So let's move on to the next question. And George, will start off with you. This is not necessarily hiring, but the question is, what is the typical hiring or enrollment or application process that your organization goes through? George?
So, okay. So for me, you want me to go through the application process, correct?
Please.
Yeah. Okay. So for us, it is, we don't do Common App or any of that. You have to apply directly through the university, through our website. So you submit application, and then for a high school student, we need high school transcript. And we are a test optional school. So we have been for a few years. Some schools did it this past year because of the pandemic, but we've been test optional for a few years and plan to continue. So what that means is, if you take an ACT, SAT and you do well, you feel like it represents you academically, then you can submit. If you don't, then you don't have to. If you feel like you didn't do well on it, it's not representative of your ability, then you don't have to submit. So it's application, transcript, test scores if you would like, and then essay and letters of recommendation. We do want to see at least one letter of recommendation from a teacher. And then the other can come from a counselor, a coach, or employer, anybody else. So that's pretty much it. We're going to start that process early in the fall. So high school seniors, we want them to apply early senior year. And then once the transcripts start coming in from high schools, we'll start the review process. And usually in late September, early October, we start accepting students, letting them know. And again, it's going to be based on everything: GPA, class ranking, test scores, outside activities, anything like that. We're going to take a look at. But the process, once we start the review process, it goes pretty quick. And then once a student is accepted, they're automatically considered for scholarship.
George, let me add one more thing. And Arturo and Travis, I'd like you to comment on this also. Is there an interview component? And if so, what do you look for in an interview from a candidate?
Yeah, so there are some schools that do require an interview as part of the admissions. Embry-Riddle does not require that. But in our, if a student, in an essay or any, we would just ask the student to pretty much explain to us any major accomplishments that they've had so far, or what their plans are after college. We definitely we want to know what they plan to do after school so that we can make sure that we've got them on the right track. But there is no interview actually required. Yeah.
Okay, great. So Arturo, the same question. We're looking at your hiring, enrollment, application, interview process. What can you add from your point of view?
Yeah, thank you. So ClickBond's hiring process, an individual would go to careers.clickbond.com to find a position. Whatever position they feel would be a good fit for them, they would apply for it. From there, would go to a recruiter or a pre-screening, get to know the individual applying, and the individual get to know ClickBond's culture. ClickBond has a very deep culture that we want alignment with individuals with. From there, if the individual has a degree, they would go straight to an interview. If they don't have a degree, they would go through the NCRC assessment at the Western Nevada College National Career Readiness Certification, where individuals are rated as far as their readiness to hit the job force. Hogan assessments are also done. And then from there, if they feel the individual is a good fit and they're aligned with the mission and values of ClickBond, the key behaviors, they would go on to a full interview where during the interview, what they're looking for are alignment, like I said earlier, within the behaviors that ClickBond is looking for: respect for people, excellence in execution, collaboration and coordination, learning and teaching, and celebration of achievement are the behaviors that we really want to see exemplified by the ClickBonder. And then our values, have integrity, curiosity, elegance, agility, responsibility, and teamwork, which I think all of us would agree that that's, the characteristics needed to working in the aerospace industry.
Cool. Thank you very much. And Travis, same question, sir.
Thank you. So the first step, as Arturo mentioned, is going to be applying on the SNC website. And I did put that in the chat, so there's a link there. If you guys want to look at what positions are open and out there right now, I'll say that SNC is a nationwide organization. So there's positions open in the DC area. We've got offices in Herndon, Virginia, other places on the East Coast, lots of opportunities in Colorado, and then here at headquarters in Sparks, Nevada. But that obviously is the first step. You're going to have to apply in order to get a position. But I think whether it's SNC or whether anywhere else that you're applying, you're going to have to find a contact within that organization, right? If I think back to my latest job search process, I was really helped out by Pathways to Aviation. Both Pete and Eric were great helps to me and landing here in Sparks and looking at opportunities. But you've got to make a personal connection. Now that personal connection might be with a recruiter once you've applied, but specific to SNC, there are a lot of applications, right? So figuring out a way to, whether it's a friend of a friend on LinkedIn, I'm open. I've had people contact me and say, hey, I really want to work at SNC. Here's my background. Do you think I'm a fit for any of the positions that are available at Sierra Nevada Corporation? So figure out a way to make a personal connection, right? I'd encourage you, professional organizations, right? I'm a member of the International Council on Systems Engineering in COSI, Society of Automotive Engineers, things like Civil Air Patrol, any organization where you're going to be, rubbing shoulders with the people you want to work with is going to help you build up that network and make, again, a personal connection to an organization that you might want to work for. I would say also, follow those application instructions to the letter, right? If you can't follow the instructions or the emails that come out, you're not probably going to rise to the top of that stack of resumes. Definitely recommend including a resume and a cover letter. Pathways to Aviation does a great job of helping with those resumes. So if you think you've got everything on there, but you want a second look at it, I definitely recommend getting a second set of eyes, someone that's seen lots of resumes. Make sure that's free from errors, right? The stereotype of engineers is that we can't spell and grammar is difficult for us, but you're applying to a professional organization. So my assumption is either you can proofread it or you can find someone, right, that's a member of your team, right, your personal team, that can be an advocate for you and give you advice on that resume. I'll also say we've been hiring over the past few months, and obviously COVID's been a challenge. If you have a virtual interview, and that's at SNC, that's going to be one of the first steps after a phone screen. Get on there early, right? 15 minutes early, right? Be the first one there. Test the audio, visual, if that's a part of the interview. You need to know that that's going to work before the interview panel gets on, right? In our case, right, if you get on with talent acquisition, say, hey, I just want to test this out, double confirm dates and times, and know if there's a backup audio, right, phone number as opposed to a web connection. Make sure you know what those are, because that's your first chance, right? And if you're 10 minutes late to an interview, that's not a great first impression. So yeah, that's kind of the process for SNC, and we do things like a predictive survey, right? So you're gonna kind of look at behaviors, right? What fits into the culture of SNC, attitudes. So that'd be a survey that'd be part of the intake process at SNC. A lot of jobs at SNC you'll find do require security clearance or the ability to obtain a security clearance. So for many of the positions that are open at SNC, that would be, sorry about that. That would be part of the process as well, is starting the security clearance process.
Again, you opened the door to a couple other great ideas when you mentioned joining other organizations. I never remember what the acronyms stand for, but I do know for those of you in engineering, you might want to take a look at AIAA, the IEEE, if I got that right. And then the ones that I am familiar with, AOPA, TARC, which is an offshoot of the National Association of Rocketry, designing the high-end rockets. Great engineering experience. GAMA, the General Aviation Maintenance Association. I know in the high school level, they sponsor competitions in creating wings and different things like that. So there are a lot of groups, a lot of organizations you can affiliate yourselves with, that when you go for these job interviews with the organizations that we have right here today, it makes a world of difference. And not promoting anything, I'm just going to throw this out. Consider experience with the military. These are uncertain times, but it is free training. It is wonderful training. Unless you're going to be a pilot and they're going to keep you a little longer than any of the other careers, there is a wealth of aviation experience. Another former Cap cadet is the crew chief on a B-1 bomber. And she said, when I took over the job, I had a lot of men looking at me like, how did you get this job? And it's all about what you bring in, the training and the experience. So another question I have here for the three gentlemen is, in what ways can students prepare for aerospace and engineering careers? So we'll go right back to you, George.
Yeah, again, I think starting at the high school level, the best way to prepare would be, again, to participate in either TARC, Systems Go, First Robotics, some of those types of things, or even Project Lead the Way if your school offers that. At the college level, it's definitely internships. And again, at the college level, Arturo and Travis mentioned this earlier, but we participate in every form of SAE competition. So the engineers can do, they can do the car competitions, they can do the aerospace, they can do the robotics. So all those, when it comes down to sitting for an interview with a major aerospace company, as Travis said, those are the things that they're going to be looking for. What did you do outside of school that separates you from everybody else? And how did those experiences make you better? So those are the things that that our students are looking to do: join professional organizations, do competitions, and do internships. So all those things to build their resume to set them apart. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Arturo, your thoughts?
Yeah, thank you. I agree. I would say some of the different aspects that I would like to speak to are, the students that aren't really sure what they want to do, right? They're in high school. They're not necessarily going in an aviation career direction, but, they want to find what it is that they're interested in. And there's a lot of certification programs in high school that are connected directly to college programs that are going to also connect to workforce development. The MT1 certification at here locally in Carson at WNC is the manufacturing technician certification, and that goes through all different aspects: blueprint reading, drawings, QA, manufacturing, all different aspects, including continuous improvement. It's a very well-rounded program. I've been through it, and it really opened the doors for me, and it also helps you network and connect with other companies. Another one is the Automated Industrial Technology program that's also offered here at WNC and I believe TMCC also. It's a Siemens sponsored program. So you go through the Automated Industrial Technology certification also. Obviously, I think Lean Six Sigma is a great program. I've been certified through the Nevada National Guard, but I know UNR offers another program here in Reno. And there's online courses also, and AS9100 certifications also I think are great, and they relate obviously to the field. You have to apply it, you have to learn it, and it really gives you a better understanding of what it takes to work in the aerospace industry. Those are some programs. There's other skillsconnection.org or ways to help you get prepared to hit the workforce. And obviously your engineering programs that are available at UNR and other areas.
Cool. Thank you very much. And Travis.
So I'll start with the advice to study hard, right? Specific to engineering, right? Your grades and your ability to perform on your coursework, it's the minimum bar to entry, right? And you're going to really struggle with your choice of schools, with getting accepted at universities into programs if you don't have that minimum bar of excellent grades. And many schools, it is test scores. It's good to hear their schools opening up with non-test options. But study hard. I think back to my time in high school. I remember being incessantly mocked for being the only guy taking notes in a class. Right. So I was that guy, but it worked out well for me long term. Right. I was able to get the grade. My grades weren't, the top of the top, but they were good enough to get me into engineering programs. And I think, as you progress in your career, right, the importance of that falls away. Right. You've got to have the practical experience, but that's the minimum bar to entry. So if you're in school, I encourage you. I know it's a long slog, but can keep those grades up, study hard, make sure that that's a priority in your life, right? The other thing I'd say is play with technology, right? If that's doing coding on the side, if that's picking up a cheap 3D printer, there's I think in most areas that we live, right, there's access to 3D printers through whether it's the library or makerspace, right? Get out there and play with the things that you would be developing in your career. Learn how to weld. Create things. I think I would echo what Michael said on military experience. Right now, for our team, we're trying to hire a field service engineer, right? That's going to be embedded with our troops. He's going to go over to Germany and support our system in the field. So he's got to both know the military environment, right? So most of the candidates we see, right, are former service members, right? And because just knowing that environment, knowing the platforms, right, we're on Blackhawks and Chinooks, and we need somebody that knows those airframes. Some of the other opportunities, SNC, we are a technology developer and integrator, right? So I work on a system we're developing that new technology for that system, but we also do completion. Right, so we need people that know the FAA process, right? That know how to install those new systems on an airframe like a C-130 or some of the reconnaissance aircraft. So SNC definitely has openings for people that know the FAA repair processes, maintainers. So if that's the area that you're focused on, again, that link to our career site is there. And you've got to get that hands-on experience, right, of doing maintenance or of doing class projects if you're in engineering. Already talked about the professional organizations, right? You can prepare by, most people that work in the industry are more than happy to sit down and talk with you, right? So if you can get a name and a phone number and say, hey, I'm thinking about being a maintainer, an engineer. Tell me about your experience. They're more than happy to sit down, share their experience, and help you decide, is this a career that I want to pursue long term? And then the internships, right, just amplify that, right? You can go out, you can try the work, right? You can see the types of companies that are out there because it's a two-way street, right? You've got to know if a company is a place that you would want to work long term. Another thing I kind of glossed over it in looking for in new hires is as a systems engineer, right? I want to see that you have experience outside your discipline, right? So maybe you're studying computer science, you're studying electrical engineering, but I want to see that you can do more than just design a circuit or write some code. Looking back at my career, I kind of took that to an extreme level, right? Started in automotive, transitioned into aerospace. I spent about 10 years with Moog Incorporated, another great defense contractor, and got to work on F-35 and a bunch of different both commercial and military programs. But then I said, you know what? I want to scratch the itch of my true passion, which is motorsports. At the time, I thought that's what my true passion was. So I went back and spent 3 years working on a NASCAR team, right? And I think what that brings, right, whether it's a project, whether it's taking an internship, right, that maybe isn't in aerospace or aviation, it's going to give you a different perspective, right? So while I discovered that, no, I didn't want to work and follow that motorsports career path, I definitely learned things, right, that are applying and helping me be a better leader, a better employee. So definitely don't turn down opportunities that are outside of maybe that pure career track that you've envisioned.
All right, thank you. And that's really great. You also, again, opened up a couple other possibilities. I do want to address mentorship in a moment. And George, I have a specific question directed towards you and Emery Riddle that I think will be useful, and then we'll kind of amend it for Arturo and Travis to jump on board with that as well. So I mentioned earlier that I sit on a number of aviation advisory boards in the various school districts here in New Jersey, and I see my position as the Director of Aerospace Education to give high school age students, whether it's the public school system or private school system, parochial school system, to give them an opportunity to receive exposure in aerospace education. So George, let me start off with one of my schools, the Atlantic County Institute of Technology, has a 4-year high school aviation program. They started from scratch. It was not affiliated with AOPA. They went ahead and they created this great program. And now I know that they are affiliated with Emery Riddle. And I believe you guys are going to provide 18 credits to these high school students. Can you elaborate on that a little more, how Emery Riddle is reaching into the high school age group of youngsters that are looking for future employment in aviation.
Yeah, absolutely, Michael. And is that specific school, is that in the maintenance area? That they're getting?
Their program right now, they're going to move into maintenance. They just got a referendum from the state and county, but they have a 4-year high school aviation studies program. And I know just from speaking with the superintendent that they just signed online on board with you folks. So I think it's a general program as well.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. We have some relationships with high schools, some in Florida and some outside of Florida, where the students, where we do offer our curriculum in the maintenance and in, I believe it's the maintenance and the flight area specifically, or in the aviation general studies area. So those students are, for the most part, are basically taking the same classes that we would offer at Embry-Riddle at their high school and getting those on an Embry-Riddle transcript, and then they can use those as credits at Embry-Riddle or any other school that would, because we're in a fully accredited university, those credits would transfer to other schools as well. But so in the maintenance area, if you complete any portion of the A&P certification prior to coming to Embry-Riddle, then we're going to give you credit for that. So if you have the airframe part completed, then you're going to get those credits. If you have the power plant or both, then you would get all those credits. So you have the ability to come in with up to 48 credits if you completed the A&P prior to coming through a high school program. So the 18 credits probably most likely is in the general area, or maybe they've included a few of the airframe or aviation science classes. But we do have those relationships with some schools. And then we also have what we call dual enrollment opportunities, where if we're not in a particular state with a relationship, those students can still take some of our online classes for dual enrollment credit. So there's an opportunity that way for high school students. But what you were speaking of is yes, we have contracted with certain high schools to come in and offer our curriculum throughout the time of the high school, throughout those 4 years.
All right, that's great. Thank you. Arturo, just let me amend this slightly in a different direction for you and Travis. Let's kind of throw in mentorship. What is ClickBond able to offer, or comments on young men and women in terms of mentorship getting into your field?
Wow. So I would say ClickBond, I've kind of gone through the ClickBond University almost, right? Going through wearing many hats at ClickBond. I would say get enrolled in the programs, understand the programs that are tied in directly with high schools. For instance, the MT1 programs. There are mentorship programs here available at ClickBond. Also, we have employees that are actual professors at the local colleges. They have the programs also in our other facility in Watertown, Connecticut. I think as far as an employee of ClickBond, I think there's a huge culture of mentorship throughout different organizations, different functions within ClickBond. And we're always willing to bring people in, give them tours, show them what the industry is about here at ClickBond and what the culture is, hopefully to inspire these kids to seek a field in aerospace manufacturing.
Cool. Thank you very much. Travis, same thing. Something about mentorship and your organization.
So mentorship is absolutely key to your individual success in your career. So number one, seek out mentors. And I would say that you need to find opportunities to mentor with people that are not in your organization, right? Oftentimes they can give you perspective that someone that is maybe a couple levels above you in your organization can't give. The example for me personally is Eric Henry, who's on the call. He's on the leadership at Pathways to Organization, and Eric's commitment to meeting with me and developing me as a leader has paid huge dividends for me in my career. Just want to shout out to Eric and say thank him for that. Within SNC, we do have a formal mentorship program for SNC employees, and that pairs more experienced people, maybe mentors that are in an area that you want to work later on in your career. So that's absolutely an established program. I would say as far as people from outside of SNC, it's going to be those personal relationships you develop, right? So, SNC people are part of a wide variety of professional organizations, right? And I'd say are more than willing, right? When approached, if someone comes up to a potential mentor and says, I think I can learn from you, would you mentor me? Obviously, time's a valuable thing, but that's not a bad thing to hear, right? As someone in industry, right? So make those personal connections, join those organizations, and reach out. Maybe it's on LinkedIn, right? You see someone that's posting, and it looks like they've got knowledge and skills that you'd be interested in. Send them a message, reach out, and say, would you be willing to do a mentorship? And it can be frequent, infrequent, but I can say personally in my career, it's absolutely paid off for me.
Great, thank you. And I would certainly be remiss if I did not mention Peter and Eric. I stumbled on Pathways quite by accident. I don't even remember, Peter, how I found you guys, but I'm so grateful that you allowed me to join the group. There are also a couple other of our mentors watching this. We have an airline pilot. I think he's a 747 driver. And we have a aeronautical engineer. She works for Rolls. Notice I said she worked for Rolls-Royce or Boeing, or maybe both. I'm not sure. We have some wonderful people that provide membership. And I so encourage you to join us Wednesday nights. It's 4 o'clock on the Pacific time. Those of us here in the East Coast, it's 3 hours later. You guys need to check on that. Peter, I think I've said everything. You owe me a large cup of coffee, but I don't know if they can FedEx that across the United States. So a small credit card for coffee would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Peter.
It's on the way, Michael. Wow. Thank you very much, Michael. You again, you blew it out of the park. So appreciate your time. Yes, the weekly workshops at 4 o'clock Pacific every week. They wouldn't be the same without you and Marlis and Joe and Eric. And so we truly appreciate your involvement, your insight, your effective communication workshop. Things like that go a long way to help students and job seekers just really develop themselves into the professionals that they aspire to become. So thank you very much. As for you, Arturo, George, Travis, amazing insight. So thank you so much. The beauty for me personally is I get to learn so much from you by just observing. It's amazing. And I knew, Arturo, that WNC had all these programs, and I knew that ClickBond had an amazing culture, but you're making it sound like that I should go work for you guys because I want to be part of that team. And Travis, the same for you. And George, I can't say enough for Embry-Riddle. I called you a few months ago and asked for a little favor, and now that individual has committed to you for his college career. So it's the relationships, the partnerships that we develop just from Pathways to Aviation with you all is just incredible. So from the depths of my heart, thank you very much. For those of you on the call, we exist for you. Everything we do is free of charge, but that doesn't mean that the content is poor. It's just, this is our mission. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, and this is our purpose, is to help you guide into what could be amazing careers. And you all aspire to become something great. We want to help make that happen. So we have a certification program where we'll take you through a brief process to help you develop your readiness. We'll help you write your resumes and develop your elevator pitches like Michael started out with, and make you interview ready so that when you go into that interview, you know how to knock it out of the park. And we do that in a number of ways. So we invite you to come on in, interact with myself and Eric, and then of course our mentors to really make that happen. So this is going to conclude this workshop. In about 1 hour's time, we're going to meet one-on-one. One of our candidates is going to interview an extreme leader from headquarters at Civil Air Patrol. So if you want to come back, we invite you to come back and enjoy that interview. But that's all I have. If Eric, if you have any parting comments and then you want to take us out, I invite you to do that.
Thanks, Peter. And George, I just want to express my thanks as well. You know, for me, ERAU is more than my son getting a degree. He found his future wife there. He just proposed to her and they're getting married in September. She's a software design engineer and he's a works in cybersecurity. So love the campus, been to Prescott, incredible campus. And I just encourage everyone to explore those universities and colleges and talk to people that have gone so you can see if the culture fits you and you fit the culture. And Arturo, we've been working with ClickBond for a long time. Thanks for carving out the time. I loved hearing your path and your success in your career. That I think it's just inspiring. And you're absolutely right. You don't need a 4-year degree. You know, if you just get out there, get an associate's or get a certification, life is good. And then sometimes it opens different doors. So appreciate that. And Mr. Travis, great seeing you, brother. Do miss our coffees together, but thanks for giving your background and you know how you made it to the position that you're in at SNC, and really giving some great insight as well. So appreciate you guys. And Michael, way to moderate this group and moderate yourself, brother. That was awesome. So anyway, gang, look forward to seeing some of you soon, but we're out of here in 3, 2, 1. Have a good week.